in the most secure briefing room in the Pentagon, a briefing on the nation's most classified operational war plans for a war against China. He had planned a highest level, highest security Pentagon briefing on those super secret plans for a pro-China U.S. businessman with billions of dollars in debt to China and huge business interest in that country, who also happens to be the top campaign donor to the president. That plan was apparently only busted up at the last moment when the New York Times reported on it, which I guess embarrassed them too much to go forward with it, but Pete Hegseth had been planning on doing it. That was Friday. This Signal group chat revelation was Monday, right? I mean, things are rapidly disintegrating here. Also, I mean, what do we do with the fact that mishandling classified information in this way is very clearly a crime? I mean, do we expect the FBI will be all over that? I mean, this stuff is criminal. It's not keeping nuclear secrets in the Mar-a-Lago bathroom level of crime, but it's a crime. I mean, Jeffrey Goldberg, the journalist who was apparently accidentally included on this Signal chain, this group text, says that among the things CIA Director John Ratcliffe personally volunteered to this Signal group chat, he put in writing to this group chat on this commercial app. Among the things he posted there was the name of an undercover serving CIA officer, an active intelligence officer who Goldberg says was serving undercover. Chris Coons, Democratic senator from Delaware, responded to these revelations by saying, quote, every single one of the government officials on this text chain have now committed a crime, even if accidentally, that would normally involve a jail sentence. Senator Ruben Gallego, a Marine veteran, responded this way, quote, amateur hour. These are the geniuses that are also selling out Ukraine and destroying our alliances all around the world. No wonder Putin is embarrassing them at the negotiation table. Now, actually, to that point, it would appear that one person who was a participant in the group chat on Signal, it would appear that one of them physically was in Moscow. It looks like he was maybe even inside the Kremlin while he was on this text group chat with these geniuses, among other things, reportedly naming an undercover CIA officer and debating very specific information about forthcoming military strikes. Quote, during the group discussion on Signal, Goldberg reported, CIA Director John Ratcliffe named an active CIA intelligence officer in the chat at 5:24 p.m. Eastern Time. That was just after midnight in Russia. Trump diplomatic envoy Steve Witkoff's flight did not leave Moscow until around 2 a.m. local time. A former Putin advisor who is still close to Putin said in a Telegram post that, in fact, Witkoff and Putin were meeting at the Kremlin until 1:30 a.m. Steve, did you keep your phone with you while you were in Russia? Did you keep your phone with you while you were in the Kremlin? Was your phone turned on? What could possibly go wrong? We're supposed to not worry, though, right? Because these guys are so savvy. They are so tough. They're New York real estate tough. This was the same trip to Moscow in which Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's real estate friend, came back to the United States and told a heartwarming tale of how Vladimir Putin had given him a painting. Oh, a painting of Donald Trump, which Putin had made for Trump personally. And Steve Witkoff hand-carried that painting from Russia back to the United States and brought it to the White House and gave it to Donald Trump. Did anybody check that painting? Anybody, give it a close going over? Steve Witkoff did an interview with the pro-Russia ex-Fox News host Tucker Carlson in which he gushed about how much he, quote, likes Putin. He said, quote, I thought he was straight up with me. He said it was, quote, gracious of Putin to accept me, to see me in Moscow. He said, quote, I don't regard Putin as a bad guy. This is our negotiator. This is the quality of tough guy genius the United States is bringing to the table for these supposedly tough guy negotiations with the Russians to end the war in Ukraine, right? How's that going? Well, let's see. Let's just do a little math. So far, since Trump has been back in office, And since these negotiations have gotten underway, the tough guy negotiations, but being tough with Russia, to get them to stop the war in Ukraine. So far, Trump has offered a few concessions. He's announced that the U.S. is no longer enforcing foreign agents law in this country. He's announced that the U.S. is shutting down all of our anti-foreign influence operations at the Justice Department and the FBI. He's announced that the U.S. is shutting down our so-called klepto capture efforts to enforce sanctions versus Russia and stop them from evading sanctions. Trump has talked about ending sanctions altogether against Russia. Trump has said he wants Russia to rejoin the G7. Last week, we learned that Trump has cut off the program that tracks the Ukrainian children that Russia kidnapped and took into Russian territory. Trump is effectively telling Russia, hey, congratulations, you can keep the kids. Trump has restarted diplomatic relations with Russia and said that Russia will soon be reopening their embassy and all their U.S. consulates at full strength in the United States. Trump shut down U.S. Cyber Command operations against Russia. He shut down our joint efforts with Europe to counteract Russian sabotage efforts in Europe, which thus far have included multiple arson attacks, an attempted assassination, and packing letter bombs onto international flights. We're no longer working with our friends in Europe to try to stop those things. Russia has reportedly asked for the U.S. to restart direct commercial flights between Moscow and the United States. Trump hasn't said a word about that, but do you think he'll say no? And now today, Trump says, quote, the United States will help restore Russia's access to the world market for agricultural and fertilizer exports. The United States will assist Russia in obtaining lower maritime insurance costs. And the United States will assist Russia in enhancing their access to ports and payment systems for such transactions. So that's so far what Trump has given up to Russia. But hey, I mean, it's negotiation, right? What did he get in exchange? Well, there's no ceasefire or end to the war in Ukraine. But yesterday, while those tough guy talks were underway in Saudi Arabia, Russia did happily shoot a bunch of missiles into Ukraine while the talks were actively underway. And Trump did get a painting. We are not dealing with the sharpest tools in the shed here at any level. We, in fact, appear to be dealing with very profoundly dull tools. But it's our national security that they're destroying, not theirs. And the American people are wise to it. Which means if this system still works, it should make all of this politically unsustainable. We've got Social Security news ahead tonight. We've got Senator John Ossoff here live.